What is up, everyone? Coach Lucas here. Hope you all are doing well. Today, I'm super excited to talk to you about something called the Winner's Design Process. This is a time management tool or a time management process that's going to allow you to make the most of your time. It's going to help you plan most effectively so that you can maintain consistency of high performance, both on the pitch and off the pitch throughout the season. This is also really useful for parents too. So this can be useful for both players and parents, and I highly recommend that players watch this and parents watch this so that they can have a successful fall season. So this is going to be extremely effective. I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about the details of this process. So at first, it may look quite difficult. However, it's easy to execute if you follow along, if you just follow along this process after you watch it. So you're probably going to have to watch it to get a full understanding. And then what you'll want to do is do the activity with me while watching this video, like doing the activity while watching this so that you can actually execute on the activity. And when you do that, it's actually quite easy. So let's go ahead and dive in so you know what I'm talking about. So what is this? What is the Winner's Design Process? It's a systematic way to manage time most effectively. Most high-level players have a lot going on, and they need to manage their time so that they can maintain high performances. This is one of those areas that that's super, super important, but a lot of coaches or teachers or people don't talk about. And a lot of players don't really know how to manage their time. And if you get a handle on this, if you can master this, it's going to completely change your game. It's going to completely change your ability to maintain high performances over the course of the season. So here's the process. Number 1, brainstorm all activities and tasks. Number 2, assign completion time. Number 3, add standard deviation. I'll explain what that is. Number 4, rank the tasks by significance. Number 5, sort and plot the tasks on the calendar. Number 6, follow the managing tasks guidelines. And number 7, plan to plan. So all of this means nothing to you right now. So I'm going to walk you through the process so you know exactly what this is. Okay. So and if you want to do it together with me, feel free to do it together with me. So the first thing that we want to do is brainstorm all tasks and activities. And what I recommend is using an Excel sheet. Okay, so this is a demo. This is an Excel sheet that I created, and it's just an example. It's a hypothetical. So we want to list out and brainstorm all the tasks and activities that we have going on this upcoming week. Everything that you need to get done should be on this brainstorming sheet. So we have soccer practice. Let's say we have some meal planning. We have math homework, study for science test. We have a game study if you want to improve your tactical understanding. You want to allocate some time for a game study, a personal training. You want to talk to your academic advisor. You have a school project. Perhaps you have your cousin's birthday party. You have a family dinner, and you have science homework. So at first, it's like, how the heck am I going to get all of this stuff done? That's usually the feeling a lot of players will get halfway through the season or the beginning of the season when you have all these tasks, school projects, activities, friends, family. There's not enough time in the day, or at least it seems like that at first. So we brainstorm. That's step number 1. We want to brainstorm all the tasks and activities. Next is assign completion time. So we need to know how long these tasks take. So what you want to do is assign completion time. So you just assign how long you think these tasks are going to take. Okay. And you just write it here in this sheet here. So we have the task here and the time here. Step number 3, add standard deviation. So what does this mean? Well, standard deviation means allowing, if you're adding some standard deviation here, you're allowing time for unexpected events. You're allowing time for errors or unexpected events, things that'll pop up that's going to actually make this time longer. And most time management tools will say that you need a standard deviation of 20%. So you want to multiply all of these time elements here by 20%. So, or 1.2. So this 2 hours is actually 2.4 hours. This meal planning, which is 1 hour, is actually 1.2 hours. So you want to assign standard deviation to each task. So you're giving yourself some room, you're giving yourself some buffer room. And this is going to be extremely helpful when it comes to actually executing the task throughout the week. Okay. The next step is to rank the tasks by significance. Rank the tasks by significance. And so when it comes to ranking the tasks, you want to rank by significance, or what's most important. And you'll know what's most important by considering 2 things: the value of the task and the time. Like when is it due? So if there's math homework that is due tomorrow, that's going to be ranked higher than math homework that's going to be due 2 months from now. So value and time element, okay, or when it's due. So soccer practice, we have meal planning, we have math homework, study for science test, game study, personal training, talk to academic advisor, school project, cousin's birthday, family dinner, science homework. Okay. So, if I'm a player and I'm ranking these things here, let's say this school project is really tough and it's going to make or break my semester. I might make this school project number 1, because if I don't get a good grade on the school project, I'm going to fail, and if I fail, I can't play. So let's say this school project is number 1. Okay. Number 2, of course, soccer practice, right? Number 3, let's say, is meal planning. Number 4, let's say is family dinner. Number 5, let's say, is math homework. Number 6 is study for science test. Number 7, let's say, is talk to academic advisor. Number 8 is personal training. Number 9 is game study. Let's say number 10 is science homework. And let's say number 11 is your cousin's birthday. So now we've ranked all of these, 1 through 11. And what's really cool about the Excel sheet is what you could do is just highlight this grid, go to data, go to sort, and then sort by column C, whatever this first column is here. And then it's automatically going to have these values for smallest to largest. You just hit OK, and it's going to sort everything perfectly in order of importance. So now you have a beautiful list of activities that are ranked in order of importance, also have the time element to it, and also have the standard deviation version of the time element. So now you've prioritized everything. And if you've gotten to this point, I know the feeling because I've done this many, many times. When you go from feeling like you're overwhelmed to having all of your all of the activities and tasks that you know need to get done out on paper, and now it's ranked in order of importance. By this point, you're feeling like this is completely manageable. So if you get to this point, you're probably feeling so much better, so much relieved because you have it organized in this way. But we're not done yet. We want to plot it on the calendar in a way that's going to be effective so that you can execute it this week. So let's go back to our process here. So we've ranked the tasks by significance. Great. Number 5 is sort and plot the tasks on the calendar. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the first thing that we want to plot is school projects. School projects. Because that we agreed was the most important, and we need to allocate almost 2.5 hours to that. So let's go ahead and take a look at our calendar. So we have kind of a baseline here of what the calendar should look like. We have school. It's a good idea to have morning routine here. It's a good idea to have bedtime routine. We've also plotted soccer practice because you really can't move those around. That's another note, is it's good to plot everything that, when it comes to plotting the calendar, the first thing you want to do is like plot all your obligations first. So don't quite worry about the ranking quite yet. Just plot on there everything that you're obligated to do. So this is our the necessities. You have to show up, you have to go to these things. School, soccer practice, we have it on the calendar. Now we can plot in the rest. So next is the school project. And we agreed that it would take 2.5 hours to do. Okay. So let's say this is a fresh calendar. Let's say it's Saturday and you're planning out this calendar. So you're starting from Sunday and beyond. You want to, whatever your most important tasks are for the day, you want to front load those tasks. So whether if you're relating to the day or the week, whatever you want to do the most important tasks first. So we already agreed that the school project is important. So we would want to plot that as early as we could on the soonest day. So that would be here this Sunday. We would put the school project here, 2.5 hours right on the calendar. School project. I'm going to give it a nice little color code here. We're going to put that on the calendar just like that. Okay. If we go back to our list, we have soccer practice. We've already plotted that. That's good. Now let's look at meal planning. So 1 hour of meal planning, but we have to plot, remember, we have to allocate time. We have to allow for errors and unexpected events. So we want to plan 1.2 hours. Okay, so that's meal planning. Meal planning, so again, we want to put it here, meal planning, 1.2 hours. Let's say it looks like that. Now I know this isn't quite exact, but this gives you a good idea of what it should look like. We've got some meal planning on here. All right, what's next? Meal plan, family dinner. So let's say you want to plan a family dinner. Maybe we can do that on Friday after, well, we want to, did we rank that correctly? Yeah, so for family dinner. So let's say, so again, when's the earliest time we could do that? That's going to go here on Sunday. Boom, family dinner. And you could kind of color code this. It's good idea to color code things by category. So if it's school projects, maybe it's yellow. If it's personal stuff, it's green. If it's family stuff, it's red. If it's obligations, it's blue. You know, you want to kind of color code this by category so it's visually appealing. All right, what's next? Math homework. So we've done school project, meal planning, math, homework. Again, this is school stuff, so we're going to want to make this yellow. Cool. And so the meal planning is 1.2, dinner is 1.2, math homework is 1.2. Next is study for science test, 2.4. Study for science test, 2.4. So this is where things start to get a little bit interesting, because if you put, let's say you put the study for science test here, this may or may not be a good idea, and I'll tell you why. If you have a lot of tasks going on here, and the science test is, let's say it's quite important, and you have to allocate 2.4 hours to it, you may want to defer this to a time slot where it's earlier in the day, because you're more mentally fresh earlier in the day. So depending on how you feel about this, maybe you'll have the energy to do it here. Great, we can put the 2.4 hours here, science test. But if you feel like you're not going to have the mental energy for it, perhaps we can move this to before school on Monday, or perhaps we can move it to after school on Tuesday. So you can start to play with how to position this based on how you feel about that particular task. Next is talk to academic advisor. Okay, so we want to, that's perfect. So maybe we go before school here and we talk to academic advisor. Again, you want to try to front load these tasks and do it sooner. You don't want to try to get everything done all at once, but again, you want to try to do things sooner rather than later. Okay. All right, let's see here. Personal training. So let's say you want to get some personal training sessions in. Well, soccer practice, you're already doing that Monday. So maybe before school here, we can do some personal training sessions. Game study. Could put that here. Cool. Science homework. Maybe we do that after the game study. Cool. And cousin's birthday party. Let's say that's on Saturday or something. Cool. Okay. So again, this isn't perfect, but this gives you an idea of how to plan things. And you could already see there's some little white spots available for other things that are going to pop up. Also, you can move things around. You're going to have to move things around as you go about the week, right? Also, there might be opportunities for example, in school, if you have a study hall or something, maybe you can put science homework in the study hall, okay? So this is a basic understanding of how to plot the calendar. Now, there's some caveats to all this. There's some exceptions to all this. There's some little tips and tricks to all of this. And that's why I put on here, after sort and plot the tasks on the calendar, that's why I put on here, follow managing tasks guidelines. So if we go to the managing task guidelines, there's some key things here that is important to remember while you're doing this process, okay? Number one, like we talked about earlier, significance of a task equals the value of it plus when it's due, the time element of it, okay? Number two, significant tasks should be completed first. That's why we're front loading everything, because you're going to have more mental energy for it. And also, if anything goes wrong, you can make adjustments accordingly. So in other words, it's the opposite of procrastinating. You want to get the significant task done first. Some people think that, oh, I should get the little itty bitty task done and then work on the big projects. That's not what you want to do. The big projects, or rather the most important projects, should be done first because you're going to have the most mental energy for it, and then you could do the itty bitty tasks later. That's a big mind shift for a lot of people. They think that, oh, I'll just get the little tasks out of the way so I can focus on the big project. That's not what you want to do. You want to tackle the big thing first. Plot obligations first, like we talked about. Get school on the calendar, get the soccer practice on the calendar, whatever it is that you need to be at a particular time, doctor visits, things like that. Again, earlier in the day is more effective. Also, combine like tasks. So earlier in the day is most effective. We already talked about that. Combine like tasks. What does that mean? So let's go back to our calendar here. So there's some exceptions to this. So for example, science tests. There's a science test here, and there's a science homework here. If you're already opening up your science book, and you're already opening up your science notepad, and you're already opening up your science worksheets, it's probably best to combine, to do these tasks together, to combine these like tasks. Okay? So there's caveats to this that are going to really help make things efficient for you. And combining like tasks is a really good one. Okay? So that's a good example. What else do we have here? Defer tasks if possible. So what this means is if your teacher says, hey, you have to do this homework assignment, you want to make sure you understand the due date. That's really what this is defer tasks if possible / understand the due date. Because if it's due a month from now and you think it's due this week, you're going to work on it this week when you don't have to. Okay? So this really just means understanding the due date so you can make good judgment here. Okay. Next, use time blocks. So 1 hour on, 10 minutes off. So let's say you're preparing to do this 2.5 hour school project. Well, during that 2.5 hours, you're going to want to work for an hour and then take a 10-minute break. Work for the second hour, take a 10-minute break. So you can actually break this up into smaller chunks, which is going to help you keep your attention strong during the hours that you're working. Okay, so that's a good note. And I know what's really helpful for me is like turning off my phone, making sure there's no distractions, telling my family like, hey, I have this project that I'm working on. Like right now, for example, I'm working on doing this actual video. I've told my family like, hey, I'm working on this until this time. Please don't, knock on the door or whatever. So I'm eliminating distractions, turning my phone off, and so that I can focus my time and attention on this particular project. So that's important. Again, eliminate distractions. So that's exactly what we're talking about. Here's one that's very critical for a lot of players and families, which is eliminating unnecessary tasks. So this might be controversial, but if I'm thinking about, let's say I'm thinking about like my ultimate goals this season, which is like get a 3.5 GPA and be more consistent on the pitch, get starting time, win a conference championship, score more goals, whatever it is. You've got to find the tasks that aren't aligned with your goals, and that's how you know if they're unnecessary. And if it were me, I would probably take this off the calendar. Sorry, can't come. I love you. I'll send you a birthday gift. I'll FaceTime you. but I have to do some stuff here that are going to keep me on track for me to accomplish my goals. Now, some people say like, oh, you can't sacrifice family time. Well, that's fine. If that's you, then that's great. Go to your cousin's birthday. That's perfectly fine. But let's say it's like going, you have on here going to the movies, with friends. That's something that you're probably going to have to sacrifice if you're worried about time. So this would be an unnecessary event. You can get that off the calendar, and you could focus on just the stuff that you need to focus on. Okay. Color code the calendar blocks by category. So again, this is just visually appealing. We didn't quite do it quite right on this. So this is soccer stuff or personal stuff. So I make this personal stuff green. I make the school stuff yellow. So you can see kind of visually when you're doing what category. So I have, on Sunday, I'm doing mostly school stuff to prepare for the week. I've planned out my personal stuff like this, so I can kind of get a mental map of like what's happening when. Maybe I do family in red so it matches, stuff like that. Cool. And then again, having morning and bedtime routines on the calendar. Yeah. So yeah, once you have this plotted, you can print out this, if you use a digital calendar, great, you can use it. If you would rather have it on paper, you can print this out, have it up on your wall. It's a good idea to have some sort of whiteboard in your room or something to track your tasks. So yeah, this is how you manage that. This is the winner's design process. And I hope you found value in this. So that is it for the winner's design process. Somewhere connected with this video, whether you're watching it on our website or on YouTube or on Facebook or in our player and parent communities, I'll attach the links to the resources and to the guidelines so that you guys can have that. So hopefully you found value in this. If you're just watching this, you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, that's a lot. But if you're doing it with me, you're probably already feeling accomplished. You're probably already feeling quite relieved. And that's the whole purpose of this, is so that you can execute your tasks and map your tasks so that you're doing things most effectively with the highest level of energy in a calm way, so you're not feeling chaotic or overwhelmed and then diminishing your effectiveness in your activities. So I hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found value in it. And we'll see you next time. See you guys. Take care. Hey guys, there was one final step that I wanted to explain that I missed, which is step 7, plan to plan. So you should have time on the calendar where you're actually allocating time to plan. So let's say it's on Saturdays, you're giving yourself enough time to do this process, which should take about 15, 20, 30 minutes. If it takes you an hour, that's probably fine too. So you want to find time on the calendar either once, maybe even twice a week, where you're planning to plan. So right now you're planning and you're putting on the calendar a time to plan. So that's the only other thing that I wanted to talk about, making sure you have time on your calendar where you're actually planning. And the only other thing that is not apparent in this video is that you should have time on Sundays where you're doing your MSM work. So that should always be on Sundays, and you're allocating 60 to 90 minutes, which would obviously move the rest of this stuff around, but I didn't put it on there just for the purpose of this demo. So again, hopefully you found value in this, and we'll see you next time. Take care.